Hello, greetings, and welcome to CPB 412 Chemical Engineering Thermodynamics. My name is Professor Pluch, and I will be your tour guide, I will be your instructor, I will be your fearless leader and cheerleader for this course. I am thrilled that you'll be joining me, and so while the course is fully asynchronous online, please know that I am here and ready to help you however I can. My goal for the course is to teach you chemical engineering thermodynamics, ideally get you excited and help you fall in love with the subject. But if I can't get you that far, my goal is to help teach you however I can the subject. So if there's anything I can do at all, please do not hesitate to ask. So the purpose of this first video is I'm going to give you a very basic outline of the course or overview of the course. We'll take a look at the syllabus and course canvas page so you can get an idea of what to expect. But again, if there's anything at all I can do to help you, please let me know. Please do not hesitate to ask. My goal is to help you. Okay. But without further ado, let's take a look as if this were the first day of class in person. Okay, so this is CPB 412/512. We have a handful of students taking this for graduate credit. And again, the course is online, fully asynchronous. So I know we have students in different time zones, and so my hope is to be conscious of everybody's situation. And so if anything comes up during the semester, if you get sick, if due to time zones there's issues with submission deadlines or anything of that nature, please let me know. Okay, my goal is to make this a good, positive experience for you. So please talk to me. I'm human, and I completely understand the current situation that we're in. So again, my name is Professor Paluch. So my email address is provided there. And then throughout the course, so all the screencasts and all the content that we'll work through is posted on my YouTube channel. So if you've taken 324 with me, you'll have some experience with that. But my goal is to try and make all the resources from this class as accessible as possible so that after this class is done and the Canvas page is no longer accessible to you, that the material is still available. And so you'll find screencasts posted. I'll provide lots of supplemental notes. On this YouTube videos, I'll also even give links to all that material, which is stored in Google Drive. So you'll be able to find it all in the course Canvas page. But I just want you to know that it's all going to be on YouTube so that even after the class, it'll all be available to you. So all office hours will be held remotely via Zoom. And so I have blocked off my calendar Tuesday and Thursday from 9 a.m. to 12 noon, so a total of 6 hours during the week. There's a link on the Canvas page we'll look at and a link here to sign up for an appointment. They're set up in 30-minute blocks. If you want to talk for an hour, by all means, schedule 2 appointments. For office hours, I'll be here to help you work on problems. I can pull out my tablet and help work through problems. If you just want to talk, by all means, make an appointment. And I guess my one other note too on office hours is, I tried to, get a big block of time on Tuesday, Thursday, typically when there's less class. I know still, though, that won't work for everybody. And so if you ever want to meet outside of that block, just send me an email, let me know, and we'll get something set up. Okay. Again, whatever I can do, please do not hesitate to ask. And also, if you want to, attend office hours with your study group, by all means, you are all invited. Just let me know and share the appropriate link information with them. Okay, so the bulletin description of this course is Advanced Thermodynamics with emphasis in phase and chemical equilibrium, thermodynamic relations and applications, properties of ideal and non-ideal one-component and multi-component systems, ideal and non-ideal phase equilibria, phase diagrams, design of equilibrium flash separators, phase equilibria using equations of state, chemical equilibrium, optimum conditions for feasibility, for feasible reaction equilibrium, right? So there's a lot there. And so to essentially distill it down, no pun intended, the 3 big goals or big topics that we'll cover in this course will involve property relations, phase equilibria, and mixtures. Okay. In previous semesters, we don't always get to chemical equilibrium. And so a lot of that will depend on how the course is going. And so again, in person, it's a lot easier to communicate in class to get a feel for how class is going, how it's progressing. And so, in the online environment, please reach out to me, right? There's, it's communicate to me, right? Because I'm not directly interacting with you on a daily basis. And so, what I'm trying to say is, ideally, we cover everything that's listed in the bulletin description through chemical equilibrium. But I'm telling you that in previous semesters, we haven't always gotten to chemical equilibrium, and that's based on how the class is progressing for you. And so communicate with me in terms of how the course is going for you if there's any issues. Chemical equilibrium is typically the first topic covered in our course in reaction equilibrium. And so if we don't cover it in great detail, it's okay. Okay. My hope is that by the end of the course, you'll have all the skills that you'll need to be able to tackle said problems without any issue. In terms of prereqs, the only prerequisite on the books is CPB/MME 314 Engineering Thermodynamics. So, I'm not exactly sure what you were taught in the course. So I taught the course once back in spring 2015. I did not use the Kengel and Boole's mechanical engineering book, which is the standard in the course, but instead used the text that we're going to use for this class. And so what I'll assume that you've mastered in Thermo 1 is the first and second law of thermodynamics, balances in closed and open systems, thermodynamic paths and cycles, some basic definitions, and reading and interpreting pure component phase diagrams. Okay. Now, we will briefly review this material as needed for this course, but my assumption is that you've mastered it. Okay. And so, what I'll cautiously assume that you were taught, both in Thermo 1 and say from your chemistry class or even high school chemistry, is the fact that molecules exist. And then from Thermo 1, I'll cautiously assume that you're taught corresponding states theory and cubic equations of state. Now, corresponding states theory and more so cubic equations of state are going to be an important component of the first half of this course. And so we'll make sure that we review them in detail so that you're ready to go. Okay, and so we'll begin by reviewing these topics. They're come in chapters 1 and 2. So I'd say we'll devote about half a week to chapter 1 and then a week and a half to chapter 2. So chapter 2 is going to cover corresponding states theory and cubic equations of state. So we'll cover that in some more detail. Even though you may have seen it before, it's important to build that strong foundation before we move on. So in terms of course objectives, again, our primary concerns are going to be property relations, phase equilibria, mixtures, and then an introduction to chemical reaction equilibrium. All right, and so we're going to exit out of the slides here, and then we'll move on and look at the syllabus and then also the course website. All right, so you can find the syllabus on the Canvas page. We'll take a look at it. But again, I have office hours blocked off Tuesday, Thursday from 9 a.m. to 12 noon. So there's a link on the Canvas page in here to sign up for an appointment. You can sign up for as many appointments as you want, and we'll meet in my personal Zoom room. So, I emphasize that all of our meetings will be virtual via Zoom. There won't be any office hours in my office. My office is just physically too small. So with the university's COVID guidelines, it's just not possible. If for some reason you need to meet in person, send me an email. Maybe we can meet outside or go for a walk or find a larger classroom. Okay. And so in the syllabus, you can read over the bulletin description again, and then the course descriptions, or, kind of the course goals or objectives. We'll take a look at the Canvas page in a minute, but then there's a link again to my YouTube channel. So note with regards to emails, I'm assuming that everybody checks their Miami email. So if you don't check your Remind Me email, make sure you forward your email to it. If you send me an email, try to include the course name in the subject line, or send me emails through Canvas in which that material is already automatically added. I had sent out an email last week with regards to the course text, and there's going to be some information on the Canvas page that I'll point you to. But the text that we're going to use for this course is Fundamentals of Chemical Engineering Thermodynamics with Applications to Chemical Processes. So the course is required for the text, required in that I expect you and want you to read it. Right? It's a very good book. It's a very accessible book, and so I hope that you'll take advantage and read it in terms of helping you to master the material. Now I'll supplement that with lots of screencasts, lots of supplemental material, supplemental notes, lots of material, but we'll follow the text, and the text is a very good resource. So you're required to, it's a required text, and that'll be an essential part of the course. But with that said, right, I sent out an email last week to let you know that another reason that textbook was selected for the course is that you can read it free of charge through the libraries. Okay, so there's some information on the Canvas page about how to read it for free online. And if I have a screencast to go through it too. But basically, if you just go to the library's website and search for the textbook, two hits will pop up. One is for a physical book that they own, which is checked out. The other is for an electronic version. Just click Find It for the electronic version, and it'll take you to how to read it online. Okay, and then also I do have some physical copies at my office. If you want to borrow one, by all means, let me know. Okay, so in terms of grading, okay, so your grade's going to be composed of chapter quizzes, chapter problem sets, what I call additive problem sets, midterm exams, final exam, and modeling problems, right? And so the rest of the syllabus has information on these in detail, but basically, for each chapter, there's going to be a chapter reading quiz. Okay, and so typically they're qualitative questions, but especially in chapter 2, and typically they're qualitative questions, but I also have quantitative questions, right? And so I'll explain that in a second. But the quizzes are just to encourage you to follow along through the course. Okay, read the book, read the supplemental information, watch the screencast, right? Follow along, right? They're not intended to be incredibly difficult. There are some quantitative questions. So in chapter 2, for example, when we introduce cubic equations of state, there will be quantitative questions in which I provide you with MATLAB code to say how to calculate molar volume using the Peng-Robinson equation of state. You could also just as well do the calculations in Excel. But in the quantitative quiz, right, I will give you a given temperature and pressure, for example, and ask you to calculate the molar volume of a fluid, right? And the goal of that still isn't to be hard, but it's to make sure you know how to correctly use cubic equations of state before we move on in the course. In the quiz format, you can get instant feedback in terms of whether it's correct or not. And when we have quizzes like that, know that you'll be allowed to have multiple attempts. Right, and the goal of the multiple attempt is, that type of quiz problem. The goal of it is for you to, make sure that you're comfortable working with cubic equations of state, that you can properly do calculations with them. So you can take the quiz, multiple times, because the hope is if you don't get it right the first time, you can get it right the second time. Right, you can figure out where you went wrong and get it. Even a lot of the qualitative questions, quizzes, you'll have multiple attempts. But the goal is if you missed a concept in the reading and you get the problem wrong, you can go back, figure out what you missed, and resolve. Okay, or retake the quiz. So there's 10 quizzes. There's also going to be 10 problem sets. And so the problem sets will be typically problems from the end of the chapter. And so, what I'll add is in a normal semester, I started to spend less and less time lecturing in class, and so it's part of the reason why there's so many screencasts online with lecture material. But then in class, we would spend most of the time working through problems. And so the problems will come from the back of the book. And then in this online version of the class, you'll find that there's screencasts of me discussing the problem set to hopefully get you to work through the problems, to help you work through the problems, and get you to exercise and make sure you really understand the material from the chapter. Okay, so standard chapter quizzes, standard chapter problem sets, and again, the problem sets, I'll provide you with screencasts to help you out. Now, edited problem sets, so I have listed two of them, 2 midterm exams, final exam, and modeling problems. Okay, so what's an edited problem set and what's going on here? Okay, so what's going on here is midterm exams. So we've got 2 midterm exams listed. We're at 25% of your grade. So your midterm exams, the plan is for them to be qualitative, conceptual questions. The goal is for them to be conceptual questions. Okay, they're going to be taken online, on Canvas. You won't need a calculator or anything of that nature, right? So they're intended to be, concept-based questions. Okay, so I should, say my plan as of right now is that they'll be closed book, closed notes, no calculator. Okay, we'll discuss the exams further when they come up, but that's my plan, right? They're going to be more concept-based questions, right? There may be some numbers, but it'll be, say, multiple choice, and choose from the options, and you shouldn't need a calculator in order to compute said value. Okay, so the intention of the midterm exam is to be conceptual-based questions. And so then where the edited problem set comes up is, while in the past I might have had a numerical question on the exam, it's being removed from the exam, and those are going to become, what are listed as these edited problem sets. So they're meant to replace quantitative questions from the exam. So you can think of them as, kind of like a quantitative take-home exam. What those will look like, I don't exactly know at this point, but in years past, we would look at, they'd be non-textbook, quantitative questions, and then, that would be your assessment of, related to, quantitative type calculations, so that I don't need to put them on the exam. Okay, so I have 2 midterm exams, which will be completely online, mostly concepts. 2, what I've listed as edited problem sets. You could think of them as taking the quantitative part of the exam out, and you taking it as a take-home exam, where you can have more time than just that hour window to sit down and take the exam. Right, and so they'll be a little longer, a little more involved, but then the goal is not to have any quantitative questions on the exams. Okay, then there is a final exam, which likewise will be conceptual, and we'll talk more about that when it comes. And then we'll have 3 modeling problems. Okay, and so the goal of the modeling problems is just to get you to look at real data. And so types of problems we've looked at in the past, and the first one we'll probably definitely do again this semester, is in Chapter 2 we talk about cubic equations of state. And so it's great to read about them. It's great to apply them to simple problems. But what I'll do is I'll give you MATLAB code that could be used to calculate pure component phase diagrams using Peng-Robinson, SRK, and van der Waals equation of state, and you'll be asked to calculate or use those to predict phase diagrams, and then compare that to reference data so that you can make some assessments in terms of how the models work and how they perform. Okay, so modeling problems are intended just to get you working with real data. Okay, in exams, when the exams come up again, we will talk about them in greater detail and what the exact format and structure will be. I could tell you in previous semesters, these conceptual-based midterm exams, what I would do is the final exam would be cumulative, so I would take the contents from the exams and put those again on the final exam. And so I'm not exactly sure how that's going to work out this semester online, but I'll be sure to communicate with you when they come up. Okay, and so you can read about a lot of the details. Okay, so quizzes and problem sets, they will be posted with a due date. So it's an asynchronous online course, but there will be due dates listed for the quizzes and problem sets, then along with the edited problem sets and such. If you have any issues, right? I know it's a completely unusual situation that we're all in. So just let me know. Be sure to communicate with me. Okay, but I'm going to set the due dates. I'm going to hold you accountable to them. So the due dates of the quizzes and problem sets are important because the solutions will release after they're due. And so I'm going to stick to them. But if anything comes up, just communicate to me. I'm human. I'm here with you. Okay. And in terms of the exams will be flexible. So it's online and synchronous. The 2 midterm exams. So I have the 2 weeks. The dates scheduled for the exams, and they're going to be such that you'll have an entire week to take them. And so what that means is the midterm exams, the plan is for them each to be an hour in length. But when you sit down for that hour to take the exam is up to you. If you want to take it Monday at 12 noon, you can take it Monday at 12 noon. If you want to take it Friday at 5 p.m., you can take it Friday at 5 p.m. So the exam itself will be an hour, but I'll give you a window of a week to take it. Okay. When it comes to the final exam, the final exam will be 2 hours like a normal class. You will have a window, but the university has a policy for that. So I have to choose between Monday and Wednesday or Thursday and Friday of exam week. So the final exam will be Monday through Wednesday during exam week. So you can sit down, take your 2-hour exam anytime during that Monday to Wednesday window. It's completely up to you. I chose Monday to Wednesday over Tuesday to Thursday, so you have an extra day. Okay, they will be proctored using Proctorio, so you will need a working webcam to take them. Okay, but again, with the flexibility, I hope that makes it a lot easier for you to take the exam when it's convenient for you. Extended testing time. If you need extended testing time, just let me know. If you have any issues with how things are graded, just let me know. Okay, we'll try and get grades back to you in a timely fashion. If there's any issues, let me know, and I'll try and I'll work with you, and we'll get it fixed. Attendance, there's no attendance. The class is virtual and asynchronous, so no attendance policy. Again, though, there will be due dates for material that we'll try and stick with. Okay, so here's a table of some important dates from the academic calendar. I will note what I didn't put on the date is the wellness dates. So remember, there's no spring break this semester. Instead, Miami has put 5 wellness days throughout the semester. And so the purpose of those is to serve as days off, days to relax, days to check out. Okay, and so we'll try and check in on those throughout the semester. All right, so then here's also a basic course outline, and so this is just meant to give you an idea of how much time we plan spending on a topic. But it's not set in stone. Okay, and so depending on how class is going for everybody, this might speed up, we might slow down. We'll see how things are going. So again, just be sure to communicate with me. Chapters 1 through 12, so we skipped the material that was covered in 314. So the way the textbook's set up is chapters 1 through 7 deals with pure component systems and would ideally be covered in Thermo 1. Okay, but we'll spend the first 5 weeks going through chapters 1, 2, 5, and 7. So then what we need to make sure we get through is we're definitely going to get through chapter 12. Okay, so we'll cover up through chapter 12. And then 13 and 14, we'll probably just get a basic introduction in the last week or so of the class, week or so of the semester. Okay. Again, this is a basic outline just to give you an idea of how much time we'll spend on topics. It is subject to change. I do not have the wellness days listed in here, and so we'll try and be conscious of the wellness days with respect to due dates and scheduling and such. Okay, and that about wraps it up. The last material you can read on your own is just about academic misconduct and suspected dishonesty, and so my hope is that we don't have any issues, and so but if there are, know that we'll take them seriously. Okay, and if there's anything you want to discuss with me with respect to another classmate, or if you suspect there to be any issue, just let me know. But again, you can read through those sections on your own. And last note is for the grad students in this class, know that the contents of the quizzes, assignments, and exams could potentially be different for that graduate level component. All right, and the last thing I want to look at just in student view quickly is the course Canvas page. Okay, just to give you an idea of what we have. So the first two sections, so the first section is just getting started and gives you some resources for the course. There is a discussion which you can post questions, and so it should be that I get a notice when questions are posted at the end of the day. So if you have any questions you want to post to question board, you can put them there. And then there's also an introduce yourself discussion that I'm going to ask that you complete. And so I'm going to set this up so that the rest of the material won't unlock until, well, chapter 1 at least won't unlock until you participate in the discussion. And so even though we're online, asynchronous, I want you to, hopefully be able to form some study groups or, be a part of the course and interact with, your classmates. Okay, so nothing serious, but maybe you'll discover you've had a class with someone else in the course, and you can use that to, form study groups or, have another person to lead on. So the second section is where we're going to have a lot more course material. So there's a link to the libraries, my YouTube channel, link to my Google Calendar where you can check off appointments, appendix from our course text, and then Smith, Abbott, and Van Ness, which is another popular one. And so if I click on the syllabus and course resource page, you'll find a copy of the syllabus, link to the syllabus, some notes that would normally show on day 1, along with some accompanying screencasts. And then I mentioned to you the course can be read online free of charge. And so here's a screencast that shows how to read the text through the library. Okay. And so that's on the introductory page. And then just to give you an example of how things are going to be set up. Okay, and so chapter 1 is posted. Okay, so within chapter 1, okay, basically every single chapter should look exactly the same. There's going to be a page in which I paste, resources for you. That'd be, notes that we would have in class. So PowerPoint style notes. When we do a lot of derivations, I've typed a lot of those notes up. Those will all be posted in there. I'll embed screencasts from my YouTube channels in which you discuss the notes, in which we go through derivations, in which we go through the problems. And so we'll take a look at that in a minute. But then in addition to that, there'll be a link for the chapter quiz. And if there's more than one, they'll all be listed there. The problem set, and then the solutions. So the solutions are set to unlock. So we'll see, I'm in student view. Yeah, it's the student view. The solutions are set to unlock after the problem set due date. Right, and so that's why I said, I'm going to enforce the due dates. But if there's any issues, by all means, let me know. So yeah, quiz, problem set, and then the solutions will be there after the due date. The quiz answers will be available in the quiz after the due date. And you'll see even in quiz 1, you're going to have 2 times you could take it up to 2 times with your highest score recorded. Okay, but to give you an idea of what kind of this chapter page looks like is, if in say later chapters where I have derivations and typed up notes, there will be another section with supplemental material that covers that material. But then you'll find copies of screencasts of lectures. So I have the actual physical notes you can download, screencast that's posted on YouTube. And so chapter 1 we have 2 videos. And then when it comes to the problem set, as I said, in class we'd spend a lot of time on the whiteboard working through problems. And so what you'll see is for the 4 problems in the chapter 1 problem set, I've recorded 4 screencasts in which you discuss each problem. Okay, and so I hope that helps and helps you on the problems. Okay, so the problem sets aren't meant to be evil. They're meant to just help reinforce the material from the chapter. Okay, so I hope that gives you a good overview. If there's any questions at all, again, please do not hesitate to ask. I look forward to getting to know all of you and working with you all this semester.